You're listening to the Exitology Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show with Jason Wally Waldron. I'm your host, and this season we've been talking about adventures and value acceleration. And in this episode, we've been talking about the idea of growing to exit and the idea of applying the value acceleration methodology to your business. So we talked about what it looks like to identify where you're at. We talked about what it's like to protect yourself and your business. And of course, in a much earlier episode, we talked about some of the importance of how do we build a business that's valuable? How do we build a business that's transferable? And today we've been focusing especially on what does it look like to grow? What does it look like to grow your cash flow? What does it look like to improve your multiple? And one of the other aspects of playing this game successfully is to separate yourself as the owner from the business. And in doing so, that actually, it's interesting, by firing yourself, your intangible human capital elements of the business actually go up. At the same time, by building a strong culture and taking care of the other humans in the business, the human capital value also goes up. And so what I'm inviting you now to think about as we've been considering what it looks like to enhance and increase the value of your business is first, we keep talking about the idea that exit planning is simply good business strategy. Or another way that we like to say it around here is build a business the right way and the exit will take care of itself. And I'm going to walk you through a company that we've worked with the last few years, actually. And what I love about this company is that it was built with the end in mind. And readers of my book, Exitology, Proven Strategies to Accelerate Business Growth, 3X Your Company Valuation and Exit the Smart Way, you'll be very familiar with this concept already. I invite people early in the book to take a moment and begin with the end in mind. And if you want to warm my heart and we meet in person, bring an earmarked, dog-eared, beat-up copy of Exitology and show me all of the notes that you've written in the margin. And I will probably cry a tear of joy and then buy you a beverage of your choice. But I invite people to begin with the end in mind. And this example that we're going to walk you through here today, she did exactly that. And we're talking about value acceleration for high-ticket online sales. And a few minutes ago, we were talking about a similar situation in the B2B automotive space where they were doing high-ticket online sales. And in their case, they chose to grow and grow and grow. And they have not yet chosen to exit by going through the value acceleration methodology. On the other hand, this company here, they're choosing to exit. And so how did we find ourselves helping the cause? Well, the first thing that happened, and longtime business owners and listeners to this show will recognize this, but things were going well, and then something out of their control changed. And in the case of this business had been built off of a single metric. And the single metric was what type of leads are coming in through the internet. And not every business can be this simple, but most businesses can actually be boiled down to one single leading metric. And so in the case of this business, there were a number of different lead sources. Some people think of them as channels. So think of them as lead sources or channels, lead channels, coming to their business. And at the end of the day, we were able to, because we were tracking the one metric of where's the lead come from, we were then able to track how much each of those leads were worth. This business found me when they were working with one of my colleagues in the business strategy space. And specifically, they had been using an organic SEO strategy. And I want to caution anybody here, don't get into the weeds about this actual strategy that we're talking about necessarily. just think of it as a trackable, growable lead pool. Because whether it's organic SEO as your strategy, or whether it's buying leads and then bringing them into a funnel, or whether it's paid traffic strategy, email drops, whatever. At the end of the day, you need different lead pools and streams of leads coming to your business to turn lead flow into cash flow. And if we can turn lead flow into cash flow, we've got a business. And so in the case of this business, the specific tactic that they had been growing from for a number of years got shut down overnight. And why? Because in the world of SEO, there's a lot of things. There's kind of two levels to it. One, there's a lot of quote unquote scammy things going on. And then there's also a lot of things that are allowed by Google now, but maybe won't be, say, 3 years from now. So something might be white hat today, as they call it, and it might turn into black hat or blacklisted 3 years from now. At the end of the day, though, what happened was this company was brought to me, and they were in a tough spot. And so we took them through our initial engagement and identified where the profitable traffic sources were for them, and we started to acquire lead flow for them. And then as time went on, they doubled, tripled the amount of leads that we would generate for them. And as time went on, it was a really interesting situation, because first we were able to trace somewhere in the neighborhood of 500% monthly trackable ROI on the engagement. Then it went up to 1,300%. We thought, wow, no way is it going to go higher than this. Well, come November, this business is getting courted by an acquirer. And part of the due diligence for the acquirer is, first, what are your current lead sources? And it was essentially this organic traffic generation strategy plus another one. That was it. So we were a good, half or maybe 2/3 of their new business. That's the good news. What's the bad news? Well, you've only got 1 or 2 proven lead sources. You probably want to diversify. So Exitology will often act as a bridge between the old business owners and the new business owners. And it's still to be determined, but as far as I can tell, we will be acting as a bridge to ensure that the new acquirers have a valuable business in a go-forward basis. And the reason for that is because our ongoing lead flow to cash flow method that we're applying to this business is currently creating a trackable 2,300% return on investment. So every month, can you imagine if you could get a monthly 2,300% return on investment in the stock market? You'd be Warren Buffett, right? You'd be better than Warren Buffett. Well, currently that's what this business is doing. And so if you go back to the value acceleration methodology, one of the things that we worked with this client on was to give them a high-level exit readiness overview of their business. And what was cool about this particular client, because again, they began with the end in mind, they built this business to sell. So when we took them through our high-level exit readiness discussion, all of the values that they had wanted for their business and all of the values that the marketplace was appearing to be ready to offer them matched up almost dollar for dollar. And veterans of business will definitely hear me loud and clear when I say, if we can come to the same conclusion from 3 different paths, that usually means that we're on the right track. That always warms my heart as a business strategist. And so in the case of this business, they had done the work. And that's really what I want you to be thinking about today is what do you need to do in your business to begin with the end in mind? And what do you need to do in your business to get where you need to go? And every 90 days, keep it as the top of the mind. Am I going to grow or am I going to exit? And what I like about this particular example is that not only were we able to help this business when they got into a tough spot a few years ago and they got delisted and they had no leads for a couple months. We were able to navigate with them and their team the COVID crisis. We were able to navigate with them coming out of the COVID crisis. And then now we are navigating with them a successful exit, a successful handoff, and now a successful new growth. What am I trying to say here? New growth journey with the acquirer. And so there's a lot there. But that's really the power of the value acceleration methodology. And so I would invite you to look around and understand this from other perspectives, not just the build perspective, not just the build your business perspective, not just the value enhancement perspective, which is where I've been focusing all day, but do a search for and understand the wealth perspective. What types of wealth managers are out there that'll help you get your harvest and help you manage that, because that's an important part of beginning with the end in mind. What type of operations and scaling and growth and scaling people do you need on your team? Be thinking, like, who am I missing, right? So am I measuring the right thing? Am I measuring my transferable value? Am I measuring my correct leading indicator? Those are questions you want to ask yourself. And also, do I have the right seats on the bus to get me there? And if you don't, there's a lot of resources out there. And, the first one is I would point you to exitologybook.com. Have a look at our first chapter if you like it. Would love if you bought a copy. Leave us an honest review on Amazon. But at the end of the day, look for those resources that you need and start thinking about how you're going to go through this process. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And perhaps that is true for you today. Thanks for joining me on this adventure in value acceleration today. This is the Exitology, Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show on the International Business Growth Radio Network.